They make primarily like scopes and stuff for rifles, but they also make super awesome binoculars and like spotting scopes for like wildlife viewing and stuff. They're based out of Lander, Wyoming, the place that my buddy Travis lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I almost think that Donovan should do the intro and introduce me as a guest.
Okay.
Right on cue.
Right on. Yep. Right on cue.
Let me mute my phone.
Yeah. Mute the phone.
Yes, that.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm just gonna.
Trying to remember what I had teed up for what I did this week. Oh, okay. I'm sure we're gonna forget it again. No, you're right. Jim.
My children are fighting over the discs for Lego Dimensions. The little NFC discs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, that.
I'm set.
Right.
Am I doing the intro?
You want to do that? If not,
Sure.
I'll do it. All right.
I guess we're kind of talking about a lot of things, so it doesn't have to be any particular. All right. What's up, Yep. We're going to try that again. What's up, Internet? Welcome to the Making Geeks podcast, the podcast for makers, for families, and geeks. I am so excited about tonight's podcast because we have a very special guest with us, Sean from Geek Builders. How's it going?
Hey, Sean, how's it going?
Hey guys, good
Welcome.
to be here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a while. I think I've missed the last 2 or 3. I think the last 2 episodes, although it feels longer than that for whatever reason. Oh, you know what it was? I think it's because we had a From the Vault in there too at some point.
That we did.
Start of the school year has been awkward and crazy, and other things got piled on my plate. So I'm back. Glad to be back. Talk to some friends and talk about some geeky stuff. So what you guys have been up to since I've been gone?
I've been dabbling with a couple different things, trying to do some pre-production kind of exploration stuff for little project ideas I had. One of them is programming related, which I'm already at a disadvantage just dabbling in that because I don't really know what I'm doing. But somehow I was able to program and replicate a tutorial of how to program lane assist stuff in Python. So I don't use a live video feed right now, but currently I have a clip of like driving down the road, like a highway with like lanes and stuff. And I have it where it's like overlaying different lines for like the rightmost lane, like kind of going off into the shoulder, or the dotted lines on the left, designating like the next lane over. And so I'm just sort of messing with that. And there's tons of videos apparently on YouTube of how to do this, and there's different tactics and stuff. I do have a reason for doing this. It is for a project, but I don't know if I'm going to end up doing it because I think it's just too difficult for my level of programming expertise. But I'll describe it. So I've got a dual DIN gap in my car where a normal radio would go, like a twice high, what they call dual DIN radio receiver. And I haven't had it in my car in like 10 years.
We noticed.
For
It
you
was
guys,
missing when we were in your car.
yes.
Yeah.
As I like tinkering with things here in the shop, and I also like tinkering with things in my car, and so for the last 10 years, I've dabbled with stuff. I'm not really a car person, but I try to inject geeky stuff into it whenever possible. And over 10 years ago, I was actually I pulled the radio out and put in a car PC. So I actually gutted the glove box and put a 7-inch square ITX motherboard. It was like a dual core with I think it had 4 gigs of RAM or something, 2 gigs of RAM. It had a slimmed down version of Windows XP on it, an embedded version is what they called it. So it was bare minimum as far as processing power. It booted really fast, and this is new for the time. I had MP3s. I had a hard drive full of MP3s that I could pull up on a whim, and it had a custom. It had a touchscreen display, and it had a UI that it was this whole community. It was carpc.com, I believe, and they had a whole community of how to do this, and they had all kinds of different interconnectivity for adding webcams for forward and reverse camera systems. They had GPS add-in capability. It had the capability of adding it into if you had the right module, you could sync it with your car's computer, the diagnostic port underneath where your steering column is, similar to what a mechanic would read engine codes or whatever, and it can actually decipher that and pull data out to do different things. And it was really cool, all the stuff you could do with it. Fast forward several iterations down the line, at some point I had a tablet in place of that, because the tablets ended up doing the same thing that the entire computer could do. That was in the glove box originally, including have a lot of space for MP3s, do streaming. You could do the GPS stuff. It's built in the tablet. So it had a little wooden mount that I created. It was with a CNC machine, so I could slot in a tablet where the radio would go. And so theoretically, if I went to a coffee shop, I wanted to use the tablet, I just pull the tablet off of the center console area, and it would undock, and I could use it as a tablet at a Starbucks or whatever, get back in the car, it slots back in, and it would inductively charge while in this little cradle where the radio would go, and have the touch screen. And it worked for a little while until I took the tablet to Maker Faire one year to visit you, probably, Sean, and I left the damn tablet in the seat back of a Alaska Airlines flight.
Oh.
And I didn't realize it until I got back to North Carolina 1 week later. I did all this, submitted all the documentation for a lost thing. I looked on Google, my Google account to see if someone actually logged in under my device. It's as if the thing was shredded or never powered on again. Who knows what happened to it? So, long story long, I have a space still where I can still do some stuff. So I had this idea that is stupid. Why don't I have an X-Wing targeting computer in that space? And so if I could figure out a way where I could have a video feed of what I actually see and superimpose the graphics of what a targeting computer looks like on the X-Wing, and so you just see that view of what you're seeing, that would be cool. That would be super cool.
Yeah.
I lack the programming knowledge to do this, but I'm going to keep trying until someone else steals the idea, because I've just said it. But that's fine. If someone beats me to it, I'll be happy to look at that. But I've got a couple different tactics that I've been thinking of. Maybe there's a collaboration. If anybody out there wants to...
I teach programming in Python, so...
Hey, if you want to beat your head against the wall and try to do this, we could do it. I've got a couple other alternative ways to go about doing it. But the idea is silly enough, and it's... I don't know, maybe have if it detects the different cars for different lanes, and obviously not use this for any sort of practical distraction while driving. Obviously, I'm going to pay attention to the road, but it's not unheard of to have a, on-screen display with, all that sort of stuff anyways. And it'd be cool, instead of having little boxes or cars represented, to have TIE Fighter emblems instead of cars or what have you. And yeah, that's where my mind has been the last 2 weeks as I'm driving around.
So I have one question for you.
Yes.
Where are you going to put the droid?
Now that does lead to another question. I do have plans for that, My car does have. I wasn't planning to get into this because it's another idea I have close to my chest. But my vehicle does have a moonroof in the back, and it's a perfect like spot for an R2D2. So I was planning on doing at least the top dome and maybe part of the shoulders or something, just enough where he looks like he's poking out, and have it actually animatable, maybe it puppeted by somebody in the back. And then it'll be super slick as if I took it to like a parade. Like I don't know why a parade just keeps popping in my head, but there are local parades around here that we have at different times of year, and I have a local maker group that I've always wanted to have like a presence at this parade. What better way to throw candy out into a crowd than have it launching out of an R2D2 instead of a lightsaber launching out? It's like little crappy pieces of candy, like and shooting somebody in the face with it. That'd be awesome.
So this is one of the projects where every month or two we're actually going to remind you about it. So whether it is the pool noodle Wind Waker,
I know.
And now it's this.
This one's more attainable than the pool noodle Wind Waker.
Well, no, I understand. I'm talking about the the different
the ever-growing list of stuff I can never get to. Yeah, I get you.
That's not exactly what I was going for. Just like, you could just give me a hard time about the pinball machine too. So
hey, let's go, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
At least you're on equal footing when it comes to, fodder to throw at each other.
I still get to weld, so you can always bring that up.
It's fun.
Oh my gosh.
Who's next?
Maybe Donovan, what have you been up to?
A lot. It's been a busy week. It's been a kind of a rough week, honestly, but a busy week. I've been working on this treasure hunt that I'm doing at a convention that I leave for next weekend. So I've been laser engraving stamps and learning how to do that, and then engraving my own blocks for the stamps, and then
how did you fix your laser?
Huh?
How did you fix your laser? I thought your laser was down.
It was down. I basically ripped it apart, took the head apart, cleaned everything, switched out the water. I am halfway tempted. To open up the chiller, the cooler unit the OM Tech sent me for the laser that they were supposed to send me, and hook it up to my K40.
Wait, so you already got the chiller from them?
I already got the chiller.
The
rest of it doesn't look like it's coming. Yeah.
That is so weird.
That's so cold.
They yeah, so that's one of the things about this week. So I signed the contract for OM Tech over a month ago. And then a month ago emailed them about an update, like saying, hey, I got the chiller. This is great. When can I expect the machine? And the response is, oh, we're still busy with internal processes. We'll let you know. And I have since sent other emails asking, are we still moving forward? Is this still a thing? Is there any update? And I have been ghosted from them. I can't get anybody to respond to me. And so it doesn't look like I'm getting a laser cutter. And I have a chiller just sitting in a box in my garage that I don't know what to do with. I would ask them if they want it back, but again, they're not responding to me. And so that stinks, because I was super excited about the possibilities of, having an industrial laser and working on a larger scale and all that other kind of stuff. But
well, there's a couple other laser companies making the rounds now, because there's so much competition in the space. And when I can, I'm throwing your names to them as well. Yeah. So hopefully one of them will stick for us.
I am curious. This kind of ties into like what else is going on, but I'm curious if they have watched my last few videos and have not been impressed by the numbers, and so have reconsidered partnering with me. Because like I also put out a video for that book nook that I made with the keyhole and lighting it up and the different interchangeable scenes. Super cool project. Just super cool. The kids love it. I love it. I think it's super neat. There was Wes and I spent some time chatting over Skype trying to figure out how to light this thing.
We worked through
because the way the way I was originally going to light it was to put a photoresistor
Yep.
Yeah, a photoresistor in it, so that when your face got close to it, it would light up. Because I thought, oh man, that would be so cool to like, put your eye up to the keyhole and look in, and it lights up as you put your face in. But Wes, in his, this is why Wes is smarter than me. Wes is like, yeah, but if you turn off the lights in the room, it's gonna turn the light on because it's gonna think your face is in front of the thing because it measures light reading. So I'm like, oh shoot. So we talked about different options for a while, and finally settled on this little push button mechanism that I put in the bottom corner of the book nook. But I didn't glue that corner to the book nook. I just glued the other three, so it kind of sets out a little bit. So all you have to do is kind of just push a little bit on that bottom corner, and it lights up the book nook. Super simple, which is what I wanted anyway.
Perfect. Yeah.
And I put the video out. I was super happy with it, super proud of it. I think it's at 300 views right now. But that said, in conjunction with that, I made 3 different shorts for the 3 different scenes that are in the book nook, just to use shorts as a way to advertise the longer form content. And the shorts did twice as well as the video did, which is only a couple hundred views, but still they performed a whole lot better. And then I was listening to a podcast with Chris Ramsey, who is a magician that also does YouTube videos. He's cool. In the same. So you guys know who he is, right?
I do. Yeah.
Same vein as like Peter McKinnon and stuff like that. So, like great cinematography, like fun like his big thing is puzzle boxes and stuff.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, super fun. And I was listening to his podcast, and he was talking about shorts, and he's talking about how he uses shorts to advertise his longer form videos. He's like the long form videos, like they don't perform. They really don't perform. The shorts perform astronomically well. And so he uses the shorts to advertise for his long form ones. I was like, well, maybe I'll try that. Just whatever. Everything is recycled TikTok now anyway, since everybody's trying to be TikTok. So this morning I made a TikTok video, and I downloaded it without the watermark, and then put it out on the short on all my social medias, and made a short out of it. And in the first 4 minutes of that short being up on YouTube, I got 6 times more views than the last handful of my long form videos combined. And I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, but
you know what this means? This means I have to focus on short form content now.
I don't think it's right to focus. I mean, I don't
not focus on, but like
I don't necessarily want to go down this rabbit hole right now, but a view on a short is not the same as a view on a long form video. They're not equivalent, Just because you get a lot of views on the shorts doesn't mean it translates much.
This is true.
Dollars and cents. It's simply just a number, unfortunately.
Yeah. That said, though, I also got a message from Instagram to do the creator fund for Reels. And so I signed up for that. And I'm already making money repurposing my TikToks.
Huh. See, that makes more sense when you're able to monetize that way. It hasn't been figured out that well on a lot of the other platforms.
But it's like since I'll already be creating that content from one platform, it doesn't make sense not to just put it on every platform, including shorts. So I don't know what the long-term outcome of all this is going to be, but I am going to try, not daily, but pretty consistently start doing short form content as shorts on my channel. Just to see if I can use shorts as a mechanism to drive more views to the longer form stuff, kind of like Chris Ramsey was talking about on his video. Because I was like, the algorithm does not like my content anymore at all. And so I need to figure out how to.
So really quick about your OM tech dilemma. Companies, and if they do care, they're idiots. Most companies don't really care that much about your view count. View count matters in terms of exposure, but what they care about is conversions.
Yeah, I get that.
Did somebody buy from your link? So, for instance, I'll give some information that's a little bit private, but I don't mind sharing it on here. So, for my X-Tool video, that was they sponsored, they gave me the machine for.
Mm-hmm.
It only has 2,000 views, but I generated over $6,000 in sales for them, just off 2,000 views.
Wow. Nice.
Glowforge, that is not sponsored, I've probably generated over 20, maybe close to about 20,000 in sales for that. So it's more about the sales that you generate than the view count, although the Glowforge video did a lot better. Although these companies might be using a scale conversion of, well, if they get 10,000 views, we're going to expect that maybe we get 3 sales of machines. I don't know.
Everything's a funnel.
Well, it is, but
yeah.
We talk to, in the future, you have, not only do you have like 60,000 subscribers, you have how many regular followers, you have that many Patreon followers, you have that many dedicated people that see your videos this often. It could be part of the conversation in the future that these people are dedicated. There's a better chance you're going to have more conversions down the line with that.
Yeah, and that whole,
it could be another negotiation point.
Yeah, the part of the contract that I signed with OM Tech Laser was I also had to be part of their affiliate program and go through the process of getting an affiliate link and all kind of stuff and negotiate a rate, which was 5% of sales through the affiliate link, all that kind of stuff. And I went back and I looked at the contract. My my issue, I guess, that may have killed all this is the fact that I signed it and they didn't. I went back and I looked at the contract and they never signed the contract. It was just my signature on it, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, so I may have gotten a free chiller out of it, maybe. I don't know. If they ever get back to me, maybe. I don't know.
Did you sign for the chiller?
Huh? No, they just UPS just dropped it off. He's like, I was working in my shop and a guy
happened to it.
Yeah, guy just came up and he's like, "Here, I got a package for you." I'm like, "Oh, hey, is there another much larger package in your truck?" He's like, "What are you expecting?" I'm like, "Oh, an industrial laser cutter." He's like, "Oh, no, that'll be on the freight truck. It'll probably come by later." Never came by, obviously, because we're talking about it now. But
it's still at the UPS warehouse.
Yeah. I don't know. It was kind of, with all of the sponsorship deals and partnership deals that have fallen through for me, I've almost given up all hope that that's ever going to happen.
I didn't think so either. And then it snowballed the last 6 months. So
I know you've got it going on.
Well, I don't know how much longer. I think the faucet's running out. Speaking of which, I just put out a video this week for a 3D printer, which was kind of cool to get in on. It was a 3D printer review for a new FlashForge printer called the Artemis, and that went out live yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And yeah, it was kind of cool. It's a decent 3D printer. Not a whole lot else to say about it. 3D printers are so, I don't want to say basic, but
they're all the same.
The differences between them are getting less and less because it's been figured out already. There's still a lot of innovation to be made, but I think a lot of the innovation is only going to come down to speed and the materials that you print for the most part. So it's decent. I like it. I have it in my living room still, and I'm still using it. I don't know how many sales I'm going to generate because the contract was set up differently. And they sent this.
Do you get to keep it?
Yeah, I keep it.
Okay.
I wouldn't have done the review otherwise, but I can send it back. I don't want to be that kind of channel. But one of the things is that it was like this huge blanket of sending these machines out to everybody for like a product launch, which kind of already dilutes whatever views I'm going to get, because
you beat Joel to the punch, didn't you? Yeah.
Well, it didn't beat me to the punch. We released it the same day.
Right.
But of course, my audience and my views are never going to match his. I mean, within 5 hours, he had like 10,000 views, and I'm at like 150 views. But what's weird is I didn't get an affiliate link with this company, and they don't actually care about paying affiliate money for this. They simply want what would actually be a like shock and awe type thing. Like you see 30 videos all featuring this one printer.
Right.
They don't care who you buy from. They just want you to buy it. So they're probably looking at like a total aggregate sales of everything with this campaign. It's a little bit more of a marketing thing than really a partnership at this point. But
That's what camera companies do a lot.
Yeah. I'm going through a third-party company. I'll share the information with the two of you because getting in with this company might be interesting too if it's something that you're interested in the future. Other than that, busy with work. I have some actual projects coming up that I'm actually going to be building things, hopefully. With bed frames for my kids. And yeah, I think that's all I got going on right now, which is still a lot, but yeah. I'm interested to get into our topic that we were starting to talk about before we started recording.
I'm kind of afraid to get into it now because I got so worked up in the pre-show. Because I was like, oh, it's getting so angry.
Yeah. Are you getting like, we
Really
don't like
angry?
you when you're angry, kind of angry? Or...
Your shorts are getting small when you're angry.
That is a fantastic segue because we were talking about She-Hulk.
How much you love it.
How much I just can't. I tried. I do want to say this. I made an effort. I tried.
How much did you watch?
So I watched probably about half of the first episode.
Oh, see, that's not fair. That's not right.
It's
I mean, you probably saw the best of all of it, but it's still not fair.
Yeah. I've had this problem with Marvel lately that I feel like I'm done. Like I'm done. The stories aren't good. The visuals aren't good. It's Martin Scorsese, like a year ago, it was a whole big thing when Martin Scorsese was like, Marvel movies, there aren't cinema, they're just amusement park rides. Or maybe it was 2 years ago. Whenever he said it, I remember when he said it and the controversy that came out because of it. And then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I don't agree with that. I really don't. Because at the time, Marvel movies were good. Since then, I think I agree with Martin Scorsese in that Marvel movies are not cinema. They're amusement park rides. There's no worth. They're fun, but there's no substance to them. And I was sitting down and I was watching She-Hulk and just getting so annoyed and frustrated at how they don't show, they tell. Like, she's supposed to be this great attorney, and they tell us that right in the beginning when she's doing her little, like, practicing spiel, and her friend, I'm guessing it's her friend, her coworker, yeah, is like, you know, telling her that she's the best, she's the greatest, all this other kind of stuff. We don't see it. We just hear it. And then, you know, the episode goes on, and she gets, like, infected, and which is so lazy. Anyways,
yeah, that scene was not good.
Yeah, the training montage is where I just had to stop. I just couldn't anymore. It was one of those moments where I'm like, just put it down, walk away, and just be done with it. And it was the after all the training or whatever, when she's having the conversation with Bruce Banner about how to contain her anger, and she goes off on this tirade of how, you know, she knows what it's like to control her anger because you know, men tell her how to do her job all the time, or she gets catcalled, or, you know, all this other kind of stuff. We don't see any of that. We can't empathize with her experiencing those situations because we don't see any of it. She
you
just
watch
talks
more than
and
half
she
the
tells
first episode. You would see.
Okay,
it,
but I'm saying at this point, like, she's doing all of this, and up to this point, like, we don't know. We didn't see it. She's just telling all of this through exposition, and she's like, I know how to do this infinitely better than you. And it was that moment that I'm like, okay, no. I'm sorry. I have a wife, I have daughters. Like, I understand that the world is different for women. Like, I get it. Like I do. I try to empathize, but this is BS. I am sorry, but no. Because
Which
she's
part are you
talking
knowing?
to Hulk. She's talking to Hulk, who it took him six movies to become smart, like smart Hulk or like control the Hulk. 6 movies. And during those 6 movies, when he was the Hulk, he had no control and he leveled cities and killed countless number of people. The emotional turmoil that he must have had to experience grappling with like trying to figure out how to control his anger, because if he didn't control it, like people were going to die, cities were going to get leveled, like whatever, like all of that, they stripped all of that away and they're like, nope, she knows better than you because she's a girl. And I was like, no.
That's not a
I
fair
don't-
assessment, though.
uh
Because
and
part of her arc is she starts out super cocky. And as you watch more of the episodes, you learn, as she learns, that she doesn't know as much as she thought she did. That's actually
Okay.
the character arc. And
See,
she's like
I
learning, but
couldn't-
you wouldn't know that because you just wrote it off and you took that angle and you put that as a negative, and that you're supposed to feel angry that she's saying that because as she progresses through the episodes, it's clear that she doesn't really have a handle on what she's talking about, and she's getting further and further away from that now, and she's learning that people are only liking her in certain instances, whether she's like when she's She-Hulk, she kind of has like a different persona because she's like she feels more confident in her green skin, and so like she's seeing like a divergence in that, almost like a Clark Kent Superman and like a Spider-Man Peter Parker, like the duality thing, how people want to be his friend when he's a superhero but not when he's not, like that whole cliche. Like she's starting to explore that in like her personal life and her professional life and things like that. So I get it, but I think you're being a little bit too harsh on it. I think
You made a bad assumption based on your previous knowledge with the Hulk, thinking that because she's a Hulk that it should be a similar arc.
'Cause she's acting cocky and stuff in that montage because that's her outlook, and that you're supposed to get kind of mad at her by doing that.
Well, this is the thing. When I was talking in the pre-show about that moment, like tying up all these thoughts that I've had with Marvel over the past like year or so,
Yeah.
I realized that this is the problem, is that you have this new generation of characters that haven't earned anything. So 6 movies to control the Hulk and to figure out how to be the Hulk and like all this other kind of stuff. And she does it in a montage. There's no growth. There's no conflict. There's no hardship.
Yeah,
It's
but
just, it happens.
if it went through the same-
No, hold on. Let
You're
me
applying
explain.
it
Let
to
me
the wrong
explain.
situation.
No, I know. And I realized it's like, this is what I hate about all current Marvel projects, is because that thread is like the thread that binds all the current superheroes together. They haven't earned what like the great power and responsibility, like if you want to throw Spider-Man into that their predecessors had. They didn't do the work. Like, as much as I love Shang-Chi starts off the movie as the best assassin in the world. Like, and he's apparently struggling with the inner turmoil of having killed a guy, even though you never see it. We just hear it in exposition, so we can't empathize with him. And it's not like we see him struggling. We just hear it through dialogue. But like, he's the best, and all he needs to do is believe in himself. Mulan, like we were talking about Mulan. The reason why I hated that movie is because she didn't have to struggle for anything. She was the best from birth. All she had to do was believe in herself. Doctor Strange, like American Chavez comes in, and she's the most powerful superhero in the multiverse. And all she has to do is believe in herself. There's no arc for these characters. There's no growth because they don't have anything to struggle against unless it's believing in themselves. And I realize it's like so much of like current Disney and current Marvel is that thread. You are the best. The only thing that's holding you back is you have to believe in yourself. And I thought about it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like every project. Like Hawkeye. She's the best archer. All she has to do is believe in herself, and she gets to be the new Hawkeye. Like all of these characters, they haven't earned anything. Like, and Doctor Strange, like Ned gets a sling ring, and just playing around with the sling ring, he's able to figure out how to do what it took Doctor Strange years to figure out how to do. It negates all of the work, all of the struggle, all of the story, all of the arc.
I think you're missing purpose. And it's going to take me about an hour to unwrap everything you just claimed.
Oh no, I know. But like this is all of these threads coming together in my head in that moment, and I'm like, no, I can't do that.
You mean kind of like how Steve Rogers popped out of a easy bake oven and he was instantly good at being awesome?
But there was an arc for him because he had like devotion to an ideal, and that ideal was broken in Winter Soldier, and he had to like grow beyond that to like there is an arc for Steve Rogers. Yes, he took a serum and he was like freaking amazing and everything, but like there was an emotional arc for him, if not a physical one.
Every example that you gave right now, there's an emotional arc for each one of those characters. You just don't like what the arc is, because a lot of the arc is centered around ego. And you have to remember that almost every character you mentioned, almost not all of them, almost every character you mentioned is probably under 20. Which basically you just called yourself old for the last 10 minutes.
I know this is old man Donovan ranting about kids these days.
Hold on. There's a fundamental shift in what Disney's doing, and I think that's kind of part of the problem we might have a problem with, is that they're aiming specifically at a certain subsection of a group, where we grew up with the idea of the everyman, almost a generic type main character that has to struggle, and it's really easy for mainly males to be able to envision themselves in that role, because that's been the basis for storytelling for the last 40, 50 years, probably even longer. But now you're looking at specific instances of these different groups that all want representation. And it's a little bit weird for us seeing that transition. And look at each one of those instances that you're talking about that applies to each one. And She-Hulk as well. You know, she might be in her mid-20s, even early 30s, but that's millennial generation. No more Gen Z.
And it's, I don't like, it may just be old man Donovan being like, kids these days don't know how to work. They want everything handed to them for free.
But their arc is all emotional. It's like an internal struggle. It's not as outward against the world in the same way that was more reflective of us growing up in the 80s.
And if you had a copy paste of like the struggle and arc that Banner went through and just applied it to another character, that would be pretty boring. Like to go from, nothing to gaining control. That it's like going uphill, where for her she's starting at the top of the hill and she's going down the hill, as she's coming to realize she's not what she thought she was.
Yeah,
it's like an inverse.
Well, and like, I get that, but it seems like a lot of these characters are the same character. Yes. Like in the previous iterations, like Loki was different from Thor, who was different from Iron Man. Even though the arcs may have been similar, the characteristics, the personalities, the
ego.
Yeah, like it's just they all seem the same, to the point where I could probably guess the plot of the next Marvel movie, because the main character is going to be the best at everything, better than like they're going to rip on all the people that came before him, because they can do everything, but they can do it better, and all they need to do is believe themselves.
Okay, but despite everything I just said, I don't like She-Hulk.
Really?
I don't, but I have more personal reason, I think, because I wanted to sit down and enjoy it with my daughter, because you have a female protagonist. I thought, it's going to be a situation like that, and I don't think it's suitable for kids. It's actually pretty dirty in some parts, so I'm having I probably won't let her watch it.
And it's so Brandon Sanderson is like my favorite author in the world. And one of the things that I love about Brandon Sanderson is he has an incredible way of writing strong female characters and female leads. Like, just amazing. My oldest is named after a character in one of his books because we loved her so much. Like, there, it is possible to write good, strong female characters that are leads and make the story compelling and amazing and incredible. And I wish Disney had that ability. I really do.
Yeah,
Because it seems like they can't write a story without an intent beyond just showing a strong female character.
well, their marketing team, I think, has a bigger hand on this than they probably should. I mean,
Yeah.
it's essentially Sex and the City meets Marvel character.
I guess that's a good way to describe it. But I'm like, Ripley didn't have a conversation about how life on a spaceship was so much harder for her than the other guys on the spaceship because she was a girl. No, she was just a woman in a situation that excelled because her character was fantastic.
It's not the 1980s anymore.
I mean, that's just one example, but I mean, it's
It's a good example,
possible.
but it
Like,
I'm not sure that transplants to current times though.
I want to have good stories about amazing women doing incredible things because I have daughters that I want to share these stories with and show them and inspire them and encourage them, you know, all this other kind of stuff. And this is Disney is not it. It's not. Like D23 happened, and we were going to talk about D2 because like all this other kind of stuff was coming out of D23.
Before we move on to D23, Wes, what do you think about the show overall? About She-Hulk?
It definitely has stuff that appeals to an audience that's not me, that I can tell, I can recognize. I am actually watching it with my kids. Samantha is like bust up laughing at several things that I think are just stupid. But I like look over and she's
it's
like,
for younger generation.
like there was a part, spoiler alert, where even if you were anywhere on the internet, you probably saw this, where She-Hulk is twerking, which admittedly looks ridiculous, and it's like, it's off-putting. Yeah, that's fine, because you have the uncanny valley, like on the character's rear end. It's also uncanny in the valley, and she's
Oh my
like dancing
gosh.
with a pop star or rapper or something that I'm not familiar with, but Samantha was familiar with the character or this person, and so she thought it was funny that this music artist was even there, and then let alone like doing the stuff they were doing. So it wasn't really for me, but I thought it was funny that she laughed so much. And then in the next episode, spoiler alert, there's another female character that is like unlike any other Marvel character we've seen in the MCU. I thought she was hilarious.
Are you talking about Madison?
Yes, and Samantha thought
She's the dirty one.
Samantha thought she was hilarious. I don't think she was dirty, but that's
Her main catchphrase, the way she talks about her name, is a dirty sexual reference.
went over both my kids' heads.
Well, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that, but it's still there.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyways, that character was interesting, and Samantha thought it was pretty funny. Every time she showed up on screen, she was having a good time. But overall, like I think you can't take the show seriously. It doesn't take itself seriously.
It was never intended to be.
It's not, yeah, and it's self-referential, and it's definitely it knows the Marvel tropes, and in many fourth wall breaks that are in the show, which are part of her lore and her allure, she like rips and rags on how Marvel's doing things, including cameos for the sake of drawing attention to the show, which otherwise might not be. Like she's like, oh, everybody.
Are you talking about my comment on Discord in response to your review from?
No, she literally says in the show, like there's a sequence where she looks at the camera and she's like, everybody loves Wong. Wong's in the show. He's gonna be in a couple episodes. Don't forget, it's my show though. And she's like, oh, she's like, there hasn't really been that many cameos. And then she's like, well, Bruce was in it, and then this, and da 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 da. And she's like, yeah, okay. Well, don't forget, this is my show. And then she like went back to the thing that she was doing, and so like, and they're pointing out some other things. Like, I don't know how they did this, but there were some sequences. Oh, okay, I remember what it was. There were sequences where they showed like comments from the media, like MCU, like the fandom of within the world of the MCU. Like, how do I describe this?
Is it kind of like Ghostbusters ripping on comments that people had about
Yes.
Ghostbusters in Ghostbusters?
Yes.
The all-female cast.
Yeah, there was a sequence where there are a lot of comments that show up on the screen where they're talking about woke culture and how can they do this to a certain character and why they care, like why is that to be female? All these things that people are currently talking about She-Hulk. They actually took the comments that were like when they first announced the stuff for this show back like a year ago or whatever, and all the previews they had up until the release. They actually went through and they took out the usernames, I believe, but the meat of the comments were from real people that were about this literal show, and they used it within the show to talk about She-Hulk within the MCU. So it's like there's like several layers of, they know what they're doing. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. I think it's a clever, interesting approach that I haven't seen. And the fourth wall breaks, I think, are pretty hysterical. And I'm looking forward to Daredevil in it, to be honest. So, and what they're going to do with that. He was in the trailers, so that's not a spoiler.
I don't know.
I'm giving it a chance.
I think Disney's going to change Daredevil.
Well, yeah, that's going to be lighter. Yeah. It's not going to be as dark. But that could be a good thing.
It's not a continuation. They're kind of starting them over.
They are.
To a degree.
I'm enjoying it. It's not like any other MCU property, and that's on purpose. And they're leaning into it in a way where I think they're not taking themselves too seriously, and that's my outlook on it. I'm trying not to take it seriously. It's not trying to be an Oscar contender or Emmy Award winner. They could have put more money into the graphics for sure. It's funny
for what it is. I mean, it's not an easy character to pull off, anyways.
Right.
I'll keep watching it, and I'm trying to enjoy it. But I think part of the biggest problem was not knowing what to expect or how to place this in conjunction with everything else. Because being so invested in everything MCU,
right? Where
does this sit?
Right.
And it doesn't feel like it fits in normal places. It's kind of like up over here. And if I accept that it's kind of separate from everything else, I'm probably more okay with it. Even though it has all these little connecting pieces every now and then.
It's almost
even
like
the second episode.
It's almost like it's a commentary on the MCU within the MCU.
It's almost like a weird behind the scenes without it being behind the scenes.
Right.
So it's like Deadpool without being Deadpool.
It is.
Yeah, it is. in a lot of ways, it is.
Yep.
So it's entertaining. It's fun to watch. Not a lot of substance to it.
It's saccharine. It's very
kind of like in my amusement
It's
park
like a
ride.
dessert. It's a dessert of a show. Yeah. Like you don't want to have a full meal of it, with your Iron Man, your Captain America, those have like really grounded like themes and stuff. There's not much. I mean, it's only like a half an hour show too. It's not really that long. So there's not really much they can get into, but I don't know. It's different. I'm trying to be easier going with a lot of these things and try to enjoy them more than I had before. And I'm actually enjoying them more than I had before. While also realizing that some crap looks really bad and they should have put more money onto the sequence. There was a joke in the latest one, which is the same what other people said. Someone called her Shrek in the show. Which is
they
one of
do
the...
that? Like, really?
Right, yeah. Like from a legal perspective, I'm surprised they could do that. And also... that's one of the things that they said that she looked like Fiona or Shrek with the bad graphics.
Disney's going to buy DreamWorks next week anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Probably.
So speaking of things that you've been liking, anything else from coming out of D23 that's worth bringing up and talking about?
All this stuff out of D23, I was probably most excited for Willow. Although, with all the other fantasy stuff coming out lately, it's uh it's I'm probably not. I don't know. I'm not I'm not excited for it. I want to be excited for it because it's Willow and nostalgia, man. It's all about that nostalgia. Got to get that hit, baby. Got to get that nostalgic kick. But that looked more interesting than all the other stuff coming out, at least for me.
There's only one thing that really caught my attention that I thought looked good, and that was Secret Invasion. 'Cause
Yes, I don't care.
I love spy type stuff, and I think that dangling storyline with Sam Jackson and finally seeing a little bit of that, I'm looking forward to.
So what what is the plot about?
Don't know yet. Well, I mean, it's going to be based off of the Secret Invasion comic book, but I know nothing
Right,
about
scrolls
that
are
comic book.
already have infiltrated layers of the government and society, and they're probably going to reveal several heroes and other characters that we thought were normal that it turned out that they weren't. So that might have
We're
repercussions.
scrolls the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, they're going to get to rewrite a lot of things.
Yep.
What about
So-
US?
I don't from D23. I didn't play that close attention, honestly. Secret Invasion is like the only thing I can think of. What else was there that I could choose from?
Well, the big thing was the live action remake of The Little Mermaid,
I could care less.
Willow,
Yeah.
Werewolf at Night.
Don't care.
What was the other Disney stuff?
I mean,
There's a ton of things.
Andor.
Yeah, on the Star Wars side is Andor, Tales of the Jedi, the animated
yeah,
series, animated shorts. That they look fun.
Mhm.
In a lot of ways, they did not show or announce as much as I think they should have. They talked about the Fantastic Four director, which, okay,
Oh, in the Thunderbolts, I saw the panel for that. That looked interesting.
I'm kind of disappointed with the lineup in some ways.
Yeah.
But they've been.
Are you
building
talking
up
about
for
like Marvel Phase 5 or just
No. The characters that are making up the Thunderbolts team.
Oh, okay.
But it kind of makes sense. They all seem like discarded characters,
Which they're supposed to be.
which they're supposed to be. I mean, I kind of get that.
It's like a Suicide Squad-y kind of.
Yeah, I like that David Harbour's going to return as Red Guardian. I liked him as a character. I thought it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I could-
Oh, Mandalorian Season 3.
That trailer was pretty good.
The trailer, yeah, that was a good trailer.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they're going to explain away all the stuff that happened on Book of Boba Fett without requiring you to stop the show and go watch Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, I was interested in that. I'll go with that one. That's my answer.
Hocus Pocus 2, Disenchantment, Snow White, Mufasa, The Lion King, Haunted Mansion. Oh gosh.
We're entering in sequel territory again. You have Mufasa, the movie that nobody asked for. You have a sequel to Inside Out coming, called Elemental.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Zootopia Plus.
What is that?
I didn't hear about that.
What is that? I like that movie.
Disney Plus show series.
Oh, okay.
It's
Really?
a midquel. It's not a sequel, it's a midquel.
What the hell does that
Okay.
mean?
It takes place in the middle of the movie.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
So it's like it's sequels or
Spin-off.
live action adaptations of cartoons.
I mean, you just described Disney generically, anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just done adaptations of
Hocus
previous.
Pocus 2.
Yeah.
Armor
Mm.
Wars was confirmed, and
Yeah.
that's gonna jump right off from Secret Wars, since Don Cheadle's in Secret Wars. Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff that's kind of announced but not shown. I was hoping to see a second trailer for Black Panther 2. I think that's the main thing I'm actually looking forward to right now. I think that
The Black Panther.
Yeah, I think that storyline has me more interested in than anything else. And I think that maybe this goes really quick. This goes back to the comment about the being old type thing. That seems like well, no, but it's for,
I get it.
good, it's with good reason though. The Black Panther story seems very much like an adult story. These are nations at odds. That is an adult story, as opposed to I'm a kid who got powers and I don't know how to use them.
Yeah.
Just believe in yourself, man.
It's overrated. That's for millennials.
I mean, that's nothing different than what Mr. Rogers taught, right?
To a degree. Yeah.
That said, Nintendo Direct. We got a trailer for the new Breath of the Wild game.
You can't call it that.
I can't call it that.
No.
No, because it has a name now.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah.
Which apparently they couldn't air in Britain because of the timing with the whole Queen stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Which is
Tears, Kingdom, Sadness.
Yeah.
At least they call it Death of the Princess.
Yeah. I am super excited for that game. I know it's going to be another year, if not more, till we see that.
May 2023 is when it was announced for to come out.
I know.
It's coming May.
But that's not to say that they haven't pushed release dates back before.
Yeah, but at least it has a date
Usually
mentioned.
they usually push back windows. Once they say a date, though, they don't usually push. Once the actual single day is announced, it's rare that they push those back. They'll do like quarter to quarter to quarter and keep pushing, for like a year or two. But
So that said, I do have a question for the audience. I am going to be in Canada for a little while, starting next weekend, and I want to take a Switch with me and need game recommendations. So if you have game recommendations for the Switch, that's not Legend of Zelda because I have all the Legend of Zelda games. Let me know, because I'm super interested in trying something different. Just putting that out there.
That's good.
Yeah.
So we have been going on for probably a little bit over an hour. Aside from
sorry.
D23, no. Aside from D23 stuff, which may or may not be something that you're actually geeking out about, is there something that you're actually geeking out about?
Yes, I introduced my son to Portal. He's playing Portal on my PC, and he's doing really good, actually. I've only had to help him with one puzzle so far. He doesn't pick up on the humor yet. That's kind of over his head, but he thinks it's hilarious to knock the security cameras off the walls and have her yell at him. So that's pretty great. So that's one of my favorite game series of all time. So I'm interested and excited to show that to him. We went through some of my old Xbox systems, and I forgot I had like pre-installed titles on the Xboxes. So like Xbox Live Arcade games, so to speak. And so we were kind of going through some of those, and I showed him Trials HD, which he had never played one of the Trials games, which is like the motocross side scroller. You do a bunch of flips and whatnot. And so I got him one of those for his Switch. It was like on sale for like $6, and he's been playing the heck out of that. Just some simple games. He's getting to the age now where I'm finally able to. He's showing interest in a lot of the older titles and newer stuff, and it's been a lot of fun.
Cool. I'm geeking out about the latest season of Cobra Kai, which is season 5 at this point. I haven't finished the season yet. I have, I think, 2 more episodes to go. It was a little bit of a rough start, really kind of weird. I can't believe they've been able to keep the story going this long. I know.
I don't know why I still watch it, honestly.
It has like nonsense and then like a redeeming moment. Bunch of nonsense, but the redeeming moments as the seasons go on get smaller and smaller. It's fun. It's really kind of jumped the shark.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of a better phrase to use at the moment.
It's
I'm just trying to leave it be
it's
entertainment.
crane kick the shark in the nuts.
It is. That's exactly the image.
Yes.
That's exactly the image. But I don't have anything else to watch at the moment, so I'm enjoying that.
I'm with you.
Have you, Donovan?
So Sony also did their announcements. The biggest thing from that is we got another trailer for God of War Ragnarok, which I am super excited about. When I get back from Canada, one of the big projects that I'm working on is engraving a God of War cabinet, like the shrines in the game. I've talked about this before, but like it's going to be a cabinet where you open it up, kind of like the shrines in the game. Except I'm going to do that same style with the illuminated characters and the visual stories and everything. But I'm going to do me and my kids, so like stories of things that we've done together in Nordic engraved style. And if you saw my story from Instagram, Brett McAfee, who is a pirate blacksmith, is the best way to describe him if you don't know who he is.
Also, make sure you antivirus software.
Yeah. Skull and Spade 13. He is an amazing blacksmith, and he did all the wrought iron, braided metal accent pieces that are going to be on this cabinet, and I am so excited for it. So I was geeking out about that trailer pretty hard because the game is great. I really like the story, and it goes along with the project that I'm working on right now. So
Very cool.
You know what else is very cool? Our patrons over at patreon.com/makinggeeks. Every time we release an episode, they help support our show by putting their money where our mouths are, and we appreciate each and every one of them, including the top patrons, Jordan Rimple, Nolan Rimple, Square Splinter, and Clinton. Thank you guys so much for your support.
We got another name. Has anybody knocked Jordan down yet?
Nope. His brother
You can do it.
barely is not pledging high enough. They're in the same tier, but somehow I guess maybe the only way I can figure is that the exchange rate has changed since Jordan locked his in. So his pledge is actually technically higher in Canadian than Nolan's is, which is interesting. So yeah, he has not been offset yet.
You can do it. Just believe in yourself. Speaking of believing in yourselves, if you want to believe in us, or at least see the things that we're working on, you can follow us on social medias. Speaking of social media, I signed up for Vero. Do you guys know about Vero? Are you on Vero?
I thought I signed up for it a couple years ago, but I have to go and check because I've not opened it since.
Yeah. There is, I don't want to say like it's the Instagram killer or everybody's migrating or whatever, because I think it'll take a little bit more than that. But I signed up for Vero and have been I'm on Vero now, as well as, Instagram and all the other social medias. But I do have to say that the experience of being on a social media platform is like so much better with Vero than it's been on Instagram for a long time. So anyways, that said, if you want to see the stuff that I'm working on, you can find me at Once Upon a Workbench on all the socials. If you want to see all the stuff that Sean is working on, you can find him at Geek Builders. And if you want to see all the stuff that Wes is working on now that he's like gung-ho to make more content, I can't wait for it. It's going to be awesome. You can find him at Geek Smithing.
And if you're still in the habit of visiting some old school type websites, you can go ahead and check out our webpage at makinggeeks.com. You can listen to all the past episodes right there on the homepage. And we also have a shop with Making Geeks themed merchandise for you to check out and possibly purchase and bring into your home. I want to thank everybody for joining us in the live chat. I always love seeing the side conversation going on during our conversation here. And if you'd like to be part of that fantastic group, we record every Thursday evening, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, and 6:30 Pacific. I almost said specific, but Pacific. You can find new episodes of the podcast every Saturday morning on your favorite podcast player of choice. So from all of us to all of you, have a great week.
Later.
Fine, Donovan, don't say bye.
Sorry, I was muted. Jordan just texted me, so